It's funny, you have a fascinating career with lots of connections to a lot of things that people talk about, including a movie about a shoe deal with Michael Jordan called Air. For those who might not be familiar, what is your connection to that, the lead up to Jordan and Nike and the shoe?
After I got out of NC State, I coached with Norm Sloan, who was my coach for 3 years. Got out of coaching in 1980 and moved to Atlanta to open up Adidas Southeast office.
Mm-hmm.
I had Michael Jordan wearing Adidas all throughout. He and Buzz Peterson were roommates. They loved Adidas. I had them wearing Adidas at practice and all over campus. They couldn't wear them in the game because Dean Smith was under contract with Converse. He was getting $250,000 a year and wouldn't let Michael and Buzz wear Adidas in the game, rightfully so. So in 1983-84, as he goes to Bloomington to practice for the Olympic team in 84 with Bobby Knight being the head coach, who, another story, I had Bobby Knight in Adidas, and I had put the red sweater on Bobby Knight. Another story I could tell you about he and Al McGuire. But I gave Michael the first $100 pair of leather basketball shoes in the U.S. market. It was manufactured by anybody. I have pictures of Michael wearing Adidas up in Bloomington, trying out for the Olympic team. I knew that Michael was going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
After, in the book Shoe Dogs, which is Phil Knight's book, Michael didn't want to go to Beaverton to meet with Nike. Unlike the movie, David Falk had to work on Mrs. Jordan to get Michael to go to Beaverton, which he succeeded in getting her to do. Sonny Vaccaro never went to the Jordan house that's in the movie.
Yeah.
Michael and his mom and dad never went to Nuremberg, Germany to meet with Adidas. Number one, because we were based in Herzegovina. Number two, they never went to Germany anyway. Number three, Michael, in the book, Shoe Dogs, Phil Knight's book, Nike's bordering on bankruptcy. They're in the red. In 83, they were an unknown commodity. Michael comes out of the meeting. Michael's dad says, we're signing with Nike. David Falk says, we're signing with Nike. It's in the book. Michael's quoted in the book, no, I want to sign with Adidas. I'm 29 at the time. Michael comes back from Beaverton, calls me and says, Mr. Stokan, called me Mr. Stokan.
Oh.
Mr. Stokan, can you meet with me? I met with him on Franklin Street in Chapel Hill on the stone wall across from Four Corners Restaurant. We're drinking a Coca-Cola sitting on the wall. He said, Mr. Stokan, I love you. You've been great to me and my family. I love your product. If you can just get close on the car, the shoe deal, the clothing deal, I'll sign with Adidas. If you can just get close. You don't need to beat them, just get close. So I have them ready to sign. I sent a 3-page marketing campaign over to Herzogenaurach, West Germany. The wall was still up to the Europeans because at the time, Adidas was just distributor-based, which in other words, it was just sales companies. 4 different sales companies that just sold Adidas. There wasn't Adidas America headquarters or anything. It was all based in Europe. The Europeans came back and said, we don't have that kind of money to put in the U.S. market. It was $2.5 million. Michael signs with Nike and puts Nike from the red to the black because he sold $126 million of Air Jordan product his first rookie year at Chicago Bulls. Fast forward, I take my family to the Bahamas, and we're walking through the Atlantis casino to go to dinner. My daughters are about 8 and 10, and my daughter looks over and says, there was a cigar shop and all kind of shops over on the left side of the casino. She said, there's Michael Jordan.
At a cigar shop? No.
So I walk over, and there's Michael Jordan standing there with a cigar with Charles Barkley, and Ahmad Rashad with him.
Yeah, that's a crew. That's his crew.
That's his crew. He was doing his golf tournament down in Bahamas, which he did every year. And so he sees me, and he calls me over, G, come here. Puts me in a headlock. And he looks at my daughter, and he says, your dad is the hardest working man in sports. My daughters never forgot that. And he went on to tell those Barkley, Oakley, and Rashad the story I just told you guys. But he said, and Gary didn't think I could play, and that's why Adidas didn't sign me.
Oh,
so he stuck a dagger right in my heart.
Come on.
He knew
Come
exactly where he went to school, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Never forget. Never
Meanwhile,
forget.
he idolized David Thompson.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like stories like that are important because Jordan's got his own myth that he has clearly been interested in keeping going. But, there's nuance to the story that gets lost.
I went from Adidas to Converse
Yeah.
and was national basketball director of Converse in 1987. So Larry Bird, how everybody ran their summer league basketball
Right.
charity game. So we were doing Larry Bird's in Indianapolis, and Magic and Bird and Jordan are all playing. Well, we're the sponsors, so I'm sitting at midcourt in Indianapolis, and they're shooting a free throw down at one end, and Jordan's down the other end at the top of the key with his hands on his pants, how he hold his pants down. And he sees me at midcourt, and he walks over to me and stands on the court, looks at his shoes, looks at me, looks at his shoes again, looks at me and says, big smile, "Gary, just think what might have been."
Oh, jeez.
Like only
And I'm
Jordan.
sure you loved that.
Jordan loves the knife. He loves to stick the knife in you.